Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me in another of my wonderful interviews. And it's going to be a wonderful interview. I know that because my guest today is Gary Fraughen, and he has been on the channel a couple of times talking about all sorts of things, the state of the nation, the dark forces, the mysterious goings on, the things that we've uncovered, or he's uncovered and shared with us through a number of his amazing books. And he's working on the fourth book. He never stops working, does this gentleman, uncovering the truth and delivering it to you and I. Or is that you and me? I think it's, yeah, whichever way around. Gary joins me now. Hello, Gary.
Hello, how are you? Are you good?
I'm very... I'm very well. Thank you for joining. Now, unfortunately, you're not in the studio. You've been in my kitchen, you've been upstairs in my studio, and now we're doing something different. We're doing it over Zoom. But we are zooming to you, gentle viewer. So, Gary, you are working, it's not yet published, but you're working on the fourth book and I know you've told me this, there's a number of them to come.
Yes, I'm planning to write about 10. It might be 12, but about 10. I've got enough information for about that. Uh,
Fant- Fantastic.
yeah,
Have you got enough ink?
over the years, yeah, I've been collecting a lot of information. So, yeah, so that like book three was about the New World Order, which was the construct of how we found ourselves in the position with the Frankfurt School and all the things that we find ourselves in our position of today.
Mm,
But I'm now taking it further. I'm going further up the pyramid um,
right.
of control. It's not enough to just leave it at there's our problem. We're all in, and
Yes.
I conclude with in book three the solutions or the possible solutions that we have to do on mass. But then mass is a very strange word because it's a religious term.
Well, that's true, isn't it?
Yeah. And the Jesuits are behind everything. They control nation states, they control the UN. And you know this because of the number 33. If you look at the UN flag,
Hmm.
it's the crown of Caesar, if you think about it.
I suppose it is.
Yeah, and there's 33 boxes in its globe. So yeah, so I now proceed up the food chain, as it were, and start visiting AI, um, which is a controlling factor of all of this stuff. And the Jesuits are behind it because you have the white pope and you have the black pope, and the black pope is head of the Jesuits.
Right. And when you say black pope, are you talking about someone literally black skinned?
No, 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 they wear black.
I'm just, yeah,
Every
they
single
web. I just thought I would clarify that
yeah,
because often, sorry about that,
the
I'm
white
fiddling
pope
with my
is
microphone.
the front man, the face of that particular religion.
Yeah,
But the black,
he's the one that goes around in the little funny Pope mobile
yeah,
selling pope corn and lollipops.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
But the real power behind the scenes is the Jesuits. And the Jesuits, I've put all the oaths of the Jesuits. There are three main oaths, and it involves they're entitled to murder, crucifix,
charming.
rape, harm, even children. They think that that's within their remit to make
Crikey.
sure that the Catholic religion succeeds where all other religions do not. So they're known as the Pope's assassins, but the Black Pope's assassins, the Jesuits.
Wow, they're the sort of people you want to come round of an afternoon, isn't it? On a Sunday
Yeah,
afternoon and meet the family.
yeah, very cheerful meal that would be,
How
wouldn't it?
cheerful
Yeah.
that would
What
be.
did you
Yeah.
do this week? Well, you know,
So, and because this is, obviously, this is not very well known. And when people sort of, what is it when you go from one religion or I forget the term now, you, you not qualify, but you know what I'm trying
yeah,
to say.
yeah.
You go to the Catholicism. They're not telling you. Oh, by the way, as you come to the Catholic faith, there's this bunch behind the scenes there who are the Black Pope and all of that. That's all kept very quiet, presumably.
Well, everything's always very confusing. I mean, the
Conversion, that was the word. Thank you, my brain.
third biggest landowner in the UK, in fact, in the world, is the church. Uh,
Right.
Second biggest landowners are the railways, because of course they got swathes of land that the
Yes.
railways sit on.
Right.
And the biggest um, property owners in the world are charities like the RSPB, Royal Society of Protection of Birds. And the same with America. It's all the all the valleys and all the resources that the government have claimed as their own and sell them out from under the feet of the people. So I kind of visit all that as well. So it's a pseudo socioeconomic a visitation on the kind of mess that we're in.
Where, I mean, just on that note, this is something that does fascinate me, because where on that, where do these people who own the land, I put own in inverted commas, where do they get their ownership from? Where are they making this purchase to have owned this land? I mean, it seems to me that a lot of this land has been taken, hasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been taken from the people. Um, we used to have the right to roam, and there's a argument that we still do have the right to roam, but a very limited right to roam. But think about the word roam
Well,
doesn't just
well, I was going to say cheap tickets to Rome these days are quite good.
yeah.
But yeah, but oh, hello.
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, hello. It's the Jesuits here. Could you
Yeah,
stop this recording immediately?
yeah.
When you say that we have these our rights limited, but what power have they got to reduce these rights in the first place?
Um, well, they take it unto themselves, don't they? If they say they're going to do a thing and we don't protest, they presume we acquiesce to it. So we've accepted their terms and conditions. Everything is contract. Everything is contract. Offer acceptance and consideration. And if
Even if you don't know it's a contract, it's a contract.
well, I mean, let me explain contract. The offer is when you walk past a shop window and you see a Mars bar. Other products are available.
Apparently,
Um, Offer acceptance is when you pick that Mars bar up and you put it on the shopkeeper's desk.
on the counter, yeah.
And consideration is an exchange of some sort. So it could be monetary, it could be a promise to do something for someone, or so that's basic contract. But for a contract to work, it has to be open and clear with clarity. And like with our birth certificates, that wasn't done with clarity.
No.
It was sleight of hand. And so with all contract, it has to be agreed. And we've not agreed to any of this stuff, so it doesn't exist. For us, it doesn't exist. They
Yes.
think it does for them, but for us, it doesn't exist.
And presumably there's more of us than them. If only we were to get our act together
I mean,
and let
there
them know.
there are tens of thousands of people in the UK versus one police officer. If you do the numbers, that's quite a scary kind of stat.
Well, if you knew that and everybody was awake, you wouldn't want to be a police officer, would you?
No, no, not at all.
Except that the fear factor is t'other way round.
Yeah, yeah.
That
You
the
see,
police stop you and you think, oh gosh, what am I going to go for?
but police are corporations now. They're not what they used to be. The police used to wear dark blue, the boys in blue, but now
Yes.
they wear black because they're in corporation. So they've been incorporated. They're not for the people anymore. They're for the corporations. They're money businesses. If you look up on, in fact, any police service, I don't like to use the word force because that's what they tend to do.
That's what they use, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all listed as companies. So police have to be giving out tickets to keep their pensions going or to keep the pensions of retired officers. So it's all business. It's all profit and loss. Whereas the police shouldn't be about profit and loss.
No. Well, I'm sure Robert Peel, when he set it up, hadn't set it up in that fashion.
No, well, again, it was set up for a very different reason than it is now. It was set up to protect the people. And
And do you think the people who are in those uniforms as police officers or policy officers, as many refer to them, know on the ground force, know that they are a business?
I've known a few police, and I mean, let's face it, to be promoted in the police service, you have to be a mason. There's no way of creeping up the ladder, as it were,
Hmm.
unless you're a mason. So sergeants and above are generally masons. They are because they've done their third degree, which is the master mason. Um, so they've gone through the entered apprentice and they've gone through the secondary and they've gone through the third. So they're above third degree. And as I've discussed in a lot of my work, there's more than 33 degrees. People think it stops at 33. It doesn't.
Right. It's funny that, I mean, just to add a little bit of sense of humour, because that's me. If ever I meet up with a sergeant, I think from now on I shall ask him if, when he's not working as a policeman, whether he'll come and do a bit of grouting for me, seeing as he is a mason. He may not take
You
the.
don't have to ask a mason if they're a mason. There are a series of things you can ask, and if they are, they'll respond in a certain way. One of the things is, have you been taught to be cautious?
Oh,
If they respond yes, they're a mason.
right.
And there's another 8 or 9 things you can ask, and you'll get different responses, and then and that's how I know. And they think I am one.
Well, I suppose if you're asking specific questions like, are you have you been taught to be cautious?
Yeah.
That's not an ordinary everyday person's thing to say, is it?
No, no, of
So one mason to another.
course not. And all their handshakes and physical actions, I've actually used some of those in court, and they work. So, yeah. So yeah, I mean, because if you're a mason, that they swear an oath that they must protect a fellow mason at all costs.
Right.
So if you're in court and you do a certain thing or things, they're obligated under their oath to come to your assistance.
Right. That's
So
something that's interesting. A lot of people now are going to be looking for those certain things.
they can wait for book 6. So
Oh,
it'll be.
we've got to wait for book 6. He's only on book
Well, I'm
4.
trying. I'm trying. I haven't got a day job. I got quite burnt this week with the sun because I'm outside all the time.
Oh, bless you. Well,
So,
it's nice to have the sun.
yeah, yeah. Well, the winter beard's still here, so that's going to come off this week or next week. So
Yeah. And as soon as you do, the skies will close in again. You know what it's like. So go back to book 4 then, and you're talking about the Jesuits and what have you. So they're a layer up, looking down on all of us and controlling people. Who are they controlling, and what power do they really?
nation states, they control the banking system. They control. When I say nation states, I mean they control Israel. They control Africa. They control China under the Chinese mafia. They control all mafias, yeah. So they're in control of all of it, and I've got the proof. So it's going to be quite interesting, really, on
Gosh.
this book.
When you dish out this proof and book 4 comes out, would you be somewhat fearful for your life, or if you've got all the
I don't,
special?
I don't care. I don't care. I don't.
He doesn't care, ladies and
You,
gentlemen.
you've
He
got
doesn't
to,
care.
it's not what you've done in life. It's who you become.
Mm.
And I just try to do as best I can do with broken tools. Some people haven't got the time. I get it. But if they're still talking, then they're helping. Other fine people that are far more intelligent than me are again doing heavy lifting. So I'm doing the best I can do with what I've got, and that's making a difference, right? Because
Mm.
get up every day, make a difference. Make a difference.
Absolutely.
Don't just corral your own existence as being the most important thing. It's about the collective. So it's about spreading the word and educating, really.
Yes. Well, I do try to do that each day, and some days better than others.
Well, no,
But that's life, isn't
you're
it?
putting in the effort. I mean, you're interviewing idiots like me. So
Yeah.
but people appreciate it. People appreciate
Yes.
people.
Well, they do like idiots like you because you're not really an idiot. You're a very clever man.
Uh, I read books. Let's put it that way. So,
Yes.
that's my.
Well, I think that's one thing that, if nothing else, we should try and encourage people to read books. Obviously, your books is a good start, but there are very interesting books out there to read. But we have been distracted and dumbed down
Oh, absolutely.
into picking up phones and looking at the internet and Netflix accounts and all these other things to avoid us from actually looking where we ought to be looking.
Well, I helped build the Globe Theatre, the new one, not the old one, because I'm not an
You're not that old.
which disappeared in a great fire. But yeah, and by the way, the stage is 1 foot too far to the left. I got my
Is it?
I got my surveying setting out wrong. Yeah, it's 1 foot too far to the left where it should be.
Ah.
That's my
So
fault.
people come back with a slightly craned neck then
It's not that bad.
having
It's not that
watched.
bad. You don't notice, but
Where's the production again? It's behind you, mate.
it's behind you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if you pick up a copy of Shakespeare, I don't know, Henry V, I threw my father's crown into the hazard for King and for Harry. That's how people used to speak.
Mm.
And if you pick up a copy of Shakespeare, uh, people struggle to read it. They physically struggle to read it.
Yes.
But that used to be the oral actions of everybody every day in Londinium.
So, what's your opinion then of Shakespeare? Because there are these rumours that it was written by a committee or a group of different people who wrote it, that he never
No,
existed. It could.
I'm more of the opinion it's a guy called William Marlowe, and he was quite an interesting character. But he was pretty high up with the Crown.
Was he a 33
Oh,
degree?
I suspect so. Absolutely, I suspect so. But then you only got to look at Queen Elizabeth I with John Dee.
Oh, yes.
He was a devil worshipper.
An alchemist and various other things.
And black scrying mirrors, and we're using black scrying mirrors today. We're using them all the time. Think about you.
Well, John D, funny enough, he did subscribe to my channel for a while, but I haven't seen him recently.
Uh,
But yes, we have these black mirror devices, don't
yeah,
we?
absolutely.
Um,
TVs and mobiles and all the rest of it.
all recording us, looking at us,
Yep.
taking in all this information, knowing everything about us,
It's
which
all
is
AI. It's all AI. Yeah.
it's all AI. Aye. Up north, of course, it's all aye, lad, aye. Are you on the aye? In my case, I've had the eye removed, so I'm just I. So it's they have to get up early to get me. Oh, here they come. So yes, that I mean that's all very interesting. Shakespeare is Philip Marlowe, you say, but what about the language of Shakespeare? Because other people I've read said that in order to get people to learn English across the world, these words that have been spelt in a particular way, and when you break them down, they mean other things like parent to the pair that rent, etc., etc. That's where all that came in through the Bible, the King James version, and Shakespeare. Is that your
Yeah, that's my
thoughts?
take. I mean, if you the real conversion Bible to read, if anyone's interested, is the Ethiopian Bible, because that's got all the 9 books that have been removed from the King James Fifth Edition. So you've got the Book of Enoch, about the Watchers and the fallen Nephilim, partaking with human women, and
Human women,
all the removed book. Well, yeah, because they were in effect in that book, fallen angels.
right?
So that then coerced human women to be with them. So all the books that are missing are in the Ethiopian Bible.
Is that readily available?
You got to search for it, and it's the first edition. If you go for the new Ethiopian Bible, that's not the first edition.
Right.
That's the third.
If anybody's got a copy, please send one in to me. I'd be fascinated to sit there and read
Well, I got a copy,
all.
so
All right, there we are.
I've got a copy.
I'll let you photocopy it and send it
I can
in.
do that.
452,000 pages of it.
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting read.
Yeah.
And then the whole setup of the Bible is very strange anyway, because there are numbers in the Bible. There's a numerical code, a Bible index code. But again, the Jesuits control that. There was a very good book I read years ago by a chap called John Perkins, and it was Confessions of an Economic Hitman. And he traveled the world money lending for big banks, for big deals, like with Dubai, when they build it and they will come. And he got the money lent to Dubai to start their construction program. And then when things got tight, the bank foreclosed on Dubai and said, "We need our money back." But oh, you've got none, so we'll take some oil, please. We want 40% of your oil fields. And the other region, emirate countries said, "No, no, no." So they paid the debt off themselves for
Right.
for UAE. So yeah, but it goes to show how powerful these people are, and the lines laid out as trap for fools that people fall into. You don't see it until you're in it, and it game's over. So
It's a bit of a sad story, then, isn't it? You don't see it till here
yeah,
we go.
yeah,
I'm in the trap. There's no like the man trap that comes out, and
yeah,
there's no way out.
yeah. So and and they're the ones behind, because the English pound used to have two lines through it, which meant equal.
Well, now you see, I heard that, and I went on Google, and I suppose what's happened is it's all been
Yeah,
erased because I was looking for some old images of notes to see where the two, which means equals, if I remember rightly, and I think I read that from your book.
it's balance. Yeah, and
Whereas now it's got effectively it's a minus to show that there is no money
we're in debt.
and we're in debt, as you would expect from a minus thing. But I remember doing, at school when we used to do the numbers, and I suppose it's the Mandela effect. They'll say, "Oh, no, that's just the Mandela effect. You don't remember it really. You just got it wrong." But I do remember. I mean, certain things that you do automatically, like drawing a pound note, bing, bing, would be the two lines, and I remember doing that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's the same.
And they can't take that away from me.
No, but they did the same with the dollar as well. So um, yeah, so it's all symbology. But if you look at these notes that we're using, which are really they're tokens, aren't they?
Mm.
They're awful things, and everyone's in debt with them.
Yes, I would like to see, he says, swooping down, hang on, blow the dust off, more of this sort of thing.
Yeah, where you've got precious metal within the note itself.
Exactly. That, for those that don't know, is a gold back. And it's probably worth about £8. It's going up all the time at the moment.
Yeah, and you get silver ones and platinum ones and all sorts. So
Yeah.
they're out there. And that's really what our currency should be made of.
Julia and I carry those around, and we flash them up in all sorts of, little shops, farm shops all over, and say, "Do you take gold? Do you take gold backs? Do you take..." Just to get them to think differently. I mean, mostly they just go, "Oh, I don't know, what is it?" And you go, "Well, it's actual money.
Yeah.
It's got a monetary value. That's worth whatever." Just to plant the seed, really, and because the other stuff is just polymer.
But
It's just bits of plastic.
it
Now. It's not even paper.
It does surprise you sometimes that people go, "Oh, is that a gold back?" Because you will get that.
Mm.
And more people are waking up to the insanity that we live in. And I've said to you before, I penned, a fool's paradise is a wise man's hell. And we're those of us that are aware, it is quite hellish. And there's people out there that are just wandering around aimlessly who absolutely have no idea what's going on. And
No, and then of course you've got those people who really can't stick the fact that information is coming out, and they're completely ignorant or they've been paid off to sort of what's the word I'm looking for, to discredit
yeah,
those that. Now, I'm never saying I'm right, or indeed that my guests are right. At the end of the day, the audience has got to make their own due diligence. And I think that anybody who's, particularly in this day and age now, everybody's got to take on board what they see on any form of platform with a pinch of salt and do their own research, because so much is upside down and all over the place. But when then people actively try to discredit you for your efforts, I mean, it doesn't actually bother me, to be honest. I think it's an incredibly flattering thing that someone's wasting. You're wasting your time doing it, but on a higher level, that's effectively what the government are, and the higher echelons of these parasites are doing, is to discredit anybody who might scrape near the truth. Have you found that yourself?
I'd also add there's another group of people that are in fear. They're in fear of discovering something that they don't want to go there. They're in a state of sheer
Yes.
confusion, but panic, but also fear. And
Would you say that some of those people might be those that are at the moment having to face something that they may have lined up for in 2021,
yeah,
having a certain medical intervention, and the fear that they might have done some disservice to themselves
yeah,
is quite paramount in their
yeah.
minds, and they really can't look at it now.
But they've got to they've got to look at it head on and do something about it because there are things to
Yes.
do about it. It's
Well, particularly if they've got children,
yeah, well,
or dependents.
uh, yeah. Again, there are those that got those involved as well. So
Mm.
so there is a real kind of a dichotomy of truths that people have to visit for themselves.
But I imagine that plenty of those are, it is like a sieve now, or a colander, really. The truth is leaking out what happened to a lot of people, and a lot of them are seeing it and maybe shuffling away. But then at some point, they are not going to be able to shy away from that irrevocable truth.
No, it's prima facie evidence, isn't it? So, sorry, Latin. That means on the face of it. On the face of it, it's proof. So, yeah, but that's a whole different
Yes.
battle.
But going back to my other question then, do you find that you are under attack for and discredited for
Oh
what you
yeah, yeah,
write? Yeah.
yeah, constant. Yeah, it's just I just think it's a badge of honor. Like, okay, if that's the best you can do, I'm going to carry on because you're not going to stop me, and waste your time. Carry on.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's exactly my attitude. Because because anyway, I find that even if they're making whatever remarks, you can say something is this way and this bloke's absolutely wrong. To me, it makes more people go, okay, that's your thought. Let me go and actually have a look at the original source to see what I think. So in some ways, I think it backfires on them because they're just making more people aware that you or me or many of these others who are always being discredited, that we exist, and so that people will go, oh, well, let's just listen to the person.
Well, I'm I'm in a position now where, and I hope I wasn't for a very long time, but I'm in a position now where someone attacks me, and those that have read my work and like it, they then group together and attack the individual attacking me. I haven't got to do anything. In fact, they don't have to. They just all pile in and say, you don't understand, da 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 da,
Yeah.
and then the conversation moves on, and that's nice. That's the nice way of it happening. You know,
Yes, it's not you personally
yeah.
doing it because you're.
I won't get personal with people, and I won't join into a fracas, as it were.
No.
I'm too calm for that. I've got too much grey hair for that now. So
Some of it's coming off, I understand.
um,
So,
yeah,
who is above? So in your inverted, well, it's not inverted, but it should be inverted, i.e., that we're at the top and the nasties at the bottom. You've got your Jesuits. Whereabouts are they in the
they're
echelons of
they're
this
pretty,
pyramid?
they're pretty high up. They're sort of the third level up,
Right.
and the second level up is AI, I believe, because that's running a lot of stuff. And the big
And how long is that? I mean, we think of it as being just invented, yesterday.
no, I mean
But
AI has been around. I mean, they found Baghdad batteries. They found computers from Iraq. You know, it's, thousands of years old. So technology's always been there because that's what humans are good at. They're good at building technology. But when the technology starts to run itself, that's when the problems start. But the real question then is who built the technology?
And do you think that the technology in the past has run itself?
I think we're on a repeat. I think we're on a reset, and I think this thing resets to the point that things go horribly wrong, and then it starts all over again.
And does it learn from that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got the Tales of Gilgamesh. That was before when the Bible was written, and that described a flood.
Right.
So in exactly the same way, and all the other cultures around the world that have the same repeated story of a flood that destroys humanity, and then you have the story of Atlantis that disappeared in a flood. So yeah, I think there is a reset, and it's all about control. But I think there comes a point where the Jesuits were in control of the technology, but I think now the technology's overtaken them.
Gosh. So who's above the AI
Yeah, well, there's the question. So I'm going to leave that for the book.
for the
That'll,
book? Right.
that'll
Yeah.
be
Okay.
the conclusion in book four.
In book four, which will take us to book five, and then
Yeah, yeah. Which is pretty mind bending though, if you think about it. And we've got to look at humanity for humanity's sake,
mm.
not just me and my family. We are a collective.
So, what do you? Here's something that I suppose in the last 10 years or so, um, when I was when I was awakening up, if you like, that didn't know I was awaking up. Now, in the last few years, I'm aware that I've been waking up, and we use this term and all this sort of nonsense. But I feel that I actually have been waking up a lot longer than I did, and one of the reasons I say that is I was writing some children's stories 10 years ago, and I was reading them to Julia, my partner, and she said, "You knew what was going on because it's reflected in your work." And I said, "Bugger me." She said, "Not at the moment." I said, "That's amazing. How yeah," and it suddenly started because there were things in there which are very much happening now, and I thought, good gracious, is that just? But is that coincidence? Whatever. Anyway, the point I was getting up to, the thing that I'm really fascinated in is who are we and what are we? Over to you.
Oof.
I mean, that's the big question that you ask when you're 12, 13, isn't it? You go, well,
Yeah.
or you're getting into your teens. You've gone through puberty and you've gone, well, what am I then?
Well, there's two brother questions there. So let's just visit the first. That thing that happens to you when you start to become different, I call that a cascade because you don't realize it's happening
Mm,
until you suddenly realize it's all cascaded upon you, and then you get it. Then you're starting to think, oh, hang on, this world this existence I'm enduring, um and I've just realized that I'm enduring it. I thought it was quite normal for all this stuff to happen, but when the cascade's over, you're a different individual, very different from what you started out as.
yeah.
So you kind of change. But then I've always been a very irritating and inquisitive individual, even as a child. I'd ask some very difficult questions to all sorts of people, but that's just the way my mind works. Um, so I look back and think my parents had a horrific time of it because I was asking adult questions at like
Yes.
8, 9, you know, and yeah. So, but some people wake up quicker than others, and I don't use the word woke. I use the word wake. But some people wake up quicker than others, and that's okay. That's really good.
Mm,
At
mm,
least you've changed, or you're changing. That's a good thing. So
yes.
if it happens later in life, it's okay. It's a good thing. Um, but
Well, I mean, you do need to sort of have a build up of experience that you can then look back on to reflect that journey in a way.
yeah, but the journey is just as important as the destination.
Oh no, yes. I mean, obviously, we're all on a bit of a journey, and I'm still on that bus. I haven't got off the bus, haven't got to the destination, but I'm just reflecting some of the bus stops that have been on the way and thinking, crikey, that was a bit of a bumpy bit.
Yeah,
But and who knows what's around the corner yet? But I'm going to enjoy it.
yeah.
But yeah, so take me on to this other question that I posed to you. Then that the big fundamental one, which I find really fascinating, and to me it's the most important question, is who are you and what are you?
I'm here to make a difference, and and my next great adventure will not be for coming back. I'll have done my work, and I think we're here to make a difference. That's what I believe. We're here,
Yes,
and a positive difference.
but what actually are you?
Uh,
I mean, I know you present as a man, and you've got blood and all of the rest of it. You see, to me, it goes right back to the consciousness thing. What is it? What is this awareness that inhabits this and sees all of that,
well,
which I cannot
these
reach?
people with that have near death experiences or have death experiences and then come back, say they join the collective. They join the Borg, if you like. They go back to source, if you like. And I think every time someone visits that event, uh, the collective learns more. That's what I think. And it's not repeat, repeat, repeat. It's learn, learn, learn. And yeah, I've been doing my learning. It's funny because I travel the world talking to all sorts of yogis and all sorts of people for years, and they all kind of had the same story because they said at death you think you're presented with two problems. One is you walk to the darkness and you sit there for a while and then get reinvented, or you just walk to the light and then you are reinvented. Well, I've got a problem with that because there's 8 billion people on the planet, from where we used to have like four. Who's printing the souls?
Right.
So the reincarnation thing is kind of a have are there people sitting around waiting to come back?
Well, it's funny you should say because I read once in a book about that, and the same question said, "Well, hang on a minute, let's." At one point, how come there's all these people, and in the past, just as you said, and they addressed it and said, "Well, imagine it's a village hall, and not everybody goes to the village hall all at the same time. If there's a jumble sale on, everyone crowds in and it's busy. But if it's a bit of choral singing or something, a lot of them stay at home. And of course, the village hall is representing of the planet or life now or whatever. I don't necessarily hold to that now because I don't think that's quite how it works. But I thought it was a lovely analogy.
That's quite thoughtful, isn't it? But these yogis I visited, and soothsayers and all sorts of people, very balanced, extremely intelligent people. They said if you really want to go back to source, don't choose either of those.
Right. Oh, interesting.
Turn around.
What is a sooth?
Soothsayers,
Yes, yes, I know. I just,
knowledge hold. Yeah.
yes, I always think it's a lovely expression, a soothsayer. I say sooth. What do you say? Oh, I'm afraid I only say sooth. That's all I say. Well, you're saying something else different now.
Yeah. So if you want to go back to source, turn around.
Turn
Don't
around.
just see what's in front of you.
Right.
Turn around. And it's like the children thing, isn't it? It's behind you.
It's behind you. Well, it's certainly evasive, which I think a lot of the truth can be. And you've spent a lot of time. How long have you been spending looking and unveiling the onion?
Well, I woke up in 2001, so so I had a huge
24 years.
yeah, I had a huge awakening, if you like, and I never looked back since.
And you've been writing your wonderful books, and you reckon there's 10 or 12 of them. That
Yeah.
shows there's going to be a lot of onion. What do you call it? Skins, onion
Well, it's
bits.
all about what I do with my work is I take people through different ideas, and different things I see, and generally people then add to it and they say, yeah, but have you thought about this as well? So they bring me knowledge, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a wonderful thing because my emails are on the back of my books. So and I try to answer everybody. It's hard to keep up. I do
Oh,
struggle.
tell me about it.
particularly if you've got a day job like me as well. So it's an
Yes.
awful lot to deal with. Um, but it's all about making a difference. And if you, and no matter how small, just make someone's day. Just make someone's day. If someone looks a bit down, and
Well, I always think the old adage. It's not. Well, I think somebody wrote it in the 30s. Actually, smile a while, and while you smile, another smiles, and soon there's miles and miles of smiles, and life's worthwhile because you smiled. And I think that's, it is amazing. You can be a bit down in the dumps and somebody smiles at you and you go, oh, and it lifts your spirit. And then you pass that on to somebody else, hopefully, instead of going into the shop to complain in the manner that you were going. And you've come in with your mood slightly changed. And you go, well, I was going to sort of give you a good roasting, but actually, because so and so smiled at me, I'm actually going to allow you to get away with it. And then those people are like, oh, well, he was a nice chap, and so it goes on.
well, laughter's infectious, absolutely
Yes.
infectious. And, and that's there for a reason. That's there for a reason. But what we do is we, as individuals, we look at all the bad stuff first, rather than look at all the good stuff, and then accept there's some bad stuff behind that. But it's
Mm.
okay. So we always put ourselves into fear and threat and sweat, when we shouldn't be doing that.
No, absolutely not. Now, listen, we'll draw this to a close, but before we come to the close, you often go out and do some talking at various events. Have you got any lined up that you
Yeah,
want
we've got one
to
in
promote?
June in Glastonbury, on the alternative view. It used to be run by a guy called Ian R. Crane, who's no longer with us. But we vowed to keep his ideology of everyone's got an alternative view and everyone has the right to share that view. That's
Mm.
what we do. So we have some very, so if you go on the Alternative View website, you'll see some of the talks that we're doing this year, and we're trying to get around the country. And you should come to Glastonbury. Come as a guest. Come as my guest.
Come as your guest. That would be nice. I think I've looked. I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but I may well be somewhere else. But we've funnily enough, we're in Glastonbury and we're coming back in a couple of weeks' time. We're often in Glastonbury. It's a lovely place. I will put the link in the description, of course. But how about your books then? If you haven't heard of Gary Fraughen and you haven't read any of his books, book one is a great starting place to do it. And then you've got the other 120 volumes that he's going to write, and I'm not going to let him out of that study of his until he's written them. To go through the second one is about numbers,
Numbers,
and
purely
that's
numbers, and that one you'd think would be quite boring, but that's really,
fascinating
that's
to him.
really entertained a lot of people. And book three again is the New World Order, and that's sold 59 countries so far.
Wow,
It's,
that's
uh,
amazing, Gary. That's really amazing. Have you got any? Mine are on the shelf over there, but have you got any to hand?
yeah, there's a couple of.
Just to flash them up on the screen. I mean, they'll probably be on the thumbnail, and no doubt. So the fourth book is yet to come out, but it'll be a couple of months. Here we go. Back a bit. Back up. There we go. Very distinctive cover, and left a bit. There you are. Look down a
That's
bit.
putting a stopper in the bottle of death in the occult,
Yeah.
and then
It's like Bernie the Bolt, that
yeah,
wasn't it? Do you remember Bernie the Bolt? There we go.
putting a
That's
stopper in the numbers of death in the occult,
fantastic.
and then the New World Order and the adepts,
Lovely.
and the adepts are they're like the Manhattan Project. That they're all doing this work, but not realizing what they're actually making or creating, in its global sense. So, and that's doing quite well as well. So it's not just about Adam Weishaupt and the Illuminati. I go a lot further back with that one. So the first chapter is quite a long chapter, but it's a year by year thing of things that were important that happened, that brought these power hungry controllers into being. And now we're going to visit who's actually been pushing the idea of that in book form.
When you say these power hungry people, do they ever get satisfied?
No,
They're never satisfied.
no. No.
And in a way that kind of reflects life a bit, isn't it? We've all been trained in the world of consumerism and materialism, never to be satisfied. We're always
Well,
constantly being
yeah,
told to upgrade and
we're,
get
we're
the new car, keep up with the
we're
Joneses.
told that, but if you're successful in life, you realise that's not the important. That's the furthest important thing. You know,
And to define what you mean by successful in life.
um, to me, success is being surrounded by lovely people,
Hmm.
and not watching the television when people come round, and having in-depth and challenging discussions that are light-hearted. That to me
Yes.
is a nice evening. Our chat here, I'm thoroughly enjoying, because that's the way that we should be conversing, not sort of after over rushed meal, so you can watch the next edition of, well, I don't even know what's on the TV anymore.
No.
You know,
Who knows? Little old rubbish. Um, no, well, it's interesting though you say that because a lot of people think success is about status, titles, money, and
yeah,
we've
I used to
discussed
have the
money is.
I used to have the big house with a cinema room, and I had Ferraris and I had stuff, and be careful what you own because it ends up owning you.
Oh yeah.
So own little, and you'll be a lot happier, because then you haven't got to keep paying for the upkeep of this and the upkeep of that and the upgrade of this and the upgrade of that. You know,
And there's less for them to take.
and there's less of them to take. So it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Gary, it's been a joy to talk to you. I hope next time we'll be in person again.
Yeah.
However, needs must, as I want to put a positive spin on that, as the fortunes are made. Needs must, as the fortunes are made. And I hope you sell lots of books. We will, obviously, once you've got book 4 actually printed, do let me know and we'll flash them up and we'll flog them off.
Give give them
And
away. You know.
give them away. But your books are available. I put a link in the description. If you haven't tried them, then do. And I know that you told me just before we go, I know you told me how extraordinarily sometimes you just put these books in different places and they
Yeah.
travel around the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really kind of like, I just chuckle. I leave books places and walk away and chuckle, not knowing where that's going to go. And then I get an email from someone from, I don't know, Egypt or
Wherever.
someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's just joyous. It's just joyous. So because I don't do this for the money. Believe you me, I work so I can do this. So
Mm.
it helps people. But they've been a wonderful thing for me. And everybody needs books in their house. Everybody.
Isn't it a sad time when you go around somebody's house and I mean, and of course, the digitization of books and all of this has done this too much. And you go around and you can't see any books.
I I
There are no books
I,
or no
I
music.
find it quite harrowing. It's
Yeah.
like you get these contemporary properties that are all sort of marble and glass and steel, and polished stainless steel, and there's no books. And I just think there's no soul in this house.
And you used to be able to measure somebody, or you get a, what you might have sort of jumped to conclusion on first impressions about someone, and then you look at their bookshelf and you go, oh, okay, you're reading a bit of that, you've got a bit of this, you've got a bit of that, and it was what's in their mind because books are thoughts consolidated onto paper. And it's very sad that there are no books. And if somebody's saying, "Oh, hang on, I'll go and fix you a cup of coffee," you've got that chance to sort of have a little nose
Oh,
about.
I do, but I tell them
Yeah.
I do. I tell them I do, but
Oh yeah, I mean, I often if somebody's actually got books now, I mean, I make a point of saying, "Oh, it's so nice to see some
yeah,
books."
I mean, I've got shelves everywhere, and where there's a flat surface, I've got an ornament of information, as I call them,
Yeah.
because I love opening book. I love the smell of books. I love
Oh,
just opening a random chapter and going, I remember that, and it
absolutely.
kicks off in your mind again, and it's just. But yeah, people need books, and books are there forever, aren't they?
They are.
So
They are.
yeah,
Unless they start burning them. But anyway, I'm not going to dwell on that one on the end. Keep your thoughts between those two hard covers, and you can't go wrong. Gary, thank you so much for talking
Thank
to
you,
us.
Richard.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I hope you have, ladies and gentlemen, at home or wherever you are, traveling or whatever it is you do when you watch or listen to these things. We very much appreciate it. All the links are in the description. Until next time, thank you for watching from Gary and I. Take care, look after yourself, read some books. Till next time, bye-bye.
Namaste.